So the writer of Hebrews is commonly regarded as one of the three theological geniuses in the New Testament. So there are, by the most conservative number, 9 authors in the New Testament, and whoever wrote Hebrews is at the top of the list. Next slide. So here's just the basic outline. We talked about this last week. Chapters 1 through 3 focuses on the preeminence of the person of Christ over prophets, angels, and over also Moses. That's right, I have to turn I'm so proud of myself for having the physical dexterity to do that. Next slide. And then it's complex theology. So chapters 4 through 7, the preeminence of Christ's priesthood, Christ over the Levitical priesthood. Next. And then the preeminence of the sacrifice of Christ over temple sacrifice. That's the first 10 chapters. Now we're in the last part of the book. Next slide. So, a couple questions. So why is the sacrifice of Christ superior to temple sacrifice? Not only is the stain removed, but the heart can change. Whereas that wasn't necessarily a part of temple sacrifice. That was just the removal of taint, but not the ability to escape the trap of our human brokenness. Next slide. So we talked about this last week, the Latin non posse non peccare, not able not to sin. So we're going to sin. I've done it today. Would you like to hear a story? No, just kidding. But with the crucifixion and resurrection, posse non peccare, we're able not to sin. We have responsibility. We can live free from it, but we're broken still, so we're gonna screw up. Next slide. So we're not yet non posse peccare, not able to sin. Even as I say it sounds kind of boring, doesn't it, Jonathan? Now that I think about it. Well, not a very good laugh on that one. Okay, next slide. So can we back up one? Yeah, okay, where are we? Hebrews 9, 11, 23, 31. Next slide. Okay, we just had this read, right? Yeah, can we skip? Amen for that. So observation number 1. His mom and dad. They took a risk to protect him, and they trusted in the goodness of God. Next slide. So we are, all of us, part of a larger ecology. We need to trust each other. So Moses, mom and dad, right, they trusted God, but they took precautions. So we are, all of us, part of a larger ecology. So we need to trust each other and to believe in our shared humanity. And the people in this room, there's a high level of trust among us. Not so much once we leave this room. Less as we're driving down the freeway or whatever. And there are some people that we know in our world that really shouldn't be trusted. Maybe you've worked with someone who you knew couldn't be trusted. That happens. Next slide. By faith, Moses, when he had grown up, refused to be known as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He chose to be mistreated along with the people of God rather than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. That's a great line, the fleeting pleasures, right? Because it is pleasurable. Also, only one person agreeing with me there. So the rest of you should try it just to experience it. And then you might know, the benefit of forgiveness. Stuff you thought you'd never hear in church. So back up one. By faith, Moses, when he had grown up, refused to be known as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He chose to be mistreated along with the people of God rather than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. So Pharaoh's daughter adopted him, loved him, lavish care. So we have one child who came to us by way of adoption. So I have some heart feeling when I see that. And Moses rejected that legacy. It's hard to imagine he rejected the mother who cared for him. But he recognized that he had a destiny and a task and a connection to this other group of people. We've probably all known folks who are not able to see their connection with some other people. Maybe you work with someone like that, not able to see their connection to the ecology of the workplace. It's really just like it's their own personal escalator to wherever they want to go, and forget about the rest of the people who work there. But we are, all of us, part of multiple complex interrelationships of different organisms. You have one at work, you have one maybe in your neighborhood, etc. And they're only as strong as the weakest link. And some of those links are barely links at all. So he recognized that he was linked to the Hebrew people, the Jewish people. And so he chose alliance with them. Next slide. So second observation, struggle. Why do we encounter struggle? You have struggles? What's your struggle? Just one.
I'm helping to care for my elderly mom.
You're helping to care for your elderly mom, and you're also working full time. Yeah. Yeah, that's everybody's. For many of us, it's out the windshield. For some of us, it's right now out the side window. And when it gets to be in the rearview mirror, then that's a whole nother sad thing. But yeah, my in-laws are 94 and 92. So, and they live nearby. So Christina's there probably 3-4 days a week. I'm there maybe 1.5. So yeah, I'm happy to do it. But yeah, it's a lot. Why do we kind of struggle? Well, we kind of struggle because we live in a broken world. Francis Fenelon says, we ought to. So, a brilliant spiritual writer, he said we ought to welcome adversity because it trains us that we need God. We need to rely on God. So we should welcome it when it happens. Next slide. By faith, Moses, when he had grown up, refused to be known as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Next slide. He chose to be mistreated along with the people of God rather than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. Next slide. So he rejected honor and privilege and chose solidarity with his people. Next slide. A broken world means sometimes our choices are between unpleasant and horrible. He chose solidarity with his people, but he must have missed his mom. Next slide. Yeah, he refused the fleeting pleasures of money and power and sensuality. Next slide. Yeah, we live in a culture that celebrates consumption, right? And so much so that it has wormed its way into how we think. Do you like my J.C. Penney's Oxford shirt? I own like 12 of these. I don't think I need 12. But I like going to Penny's and buying them. It just makes me feel good somehow. That's kind of bizarre. I don't understand that internal ecology. But I'm not doing much to try to fight against it. Next slide. So this is an ancient Greek myth. So long before Plato or Aristotle, it's the so-called the myth of Erysichthon. And the story of this myth is he lets his desire just take over his being. He doesn't try to curb it at all. And so human desire, if you don't watch out, the story is that he ends up eating everything. He ends up eating his neighbors. He ends up eating his house. He ends up eating his daughter, the most precious thing in the world to him. And he finally ends up consuming himself. That's what desire can do, right? Maybe we've known someone who was just plagued captive to their desire. And it's a dead end, right? Because we can never have enough. We need to learn how to curb desire, because if we let it run free, we can never have enough. We cannot have enough stuff. We cannot have enough. I'm just thinking of peanut butter right now. I have like 4 jars of peanut butter. I've switched to creamy. I used to like chunky, but now I buy one every time I'm at the grocery store. Yeah. Honest. Yeah, don't buy the small one. I get the really big Skippy one. I mean, the giant one, the one that like the Costco sells. I know you're like me. Maybe not about peanut butter, but there's something that we just want to have it. There's something about us. Next slide. Sin as such might not be attractive, but particular sins are. So this is the Latin incurvatus in se, we are curved in upon ourselves. Next slide. By faith, Moses, when he had grown up, refused to be known as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Next slide. When do we give up privilege? So I'm a white man in America, so I know a lot about privilege. Happens to me. And I'm aware, I have a friend, we've been good friends for a long time, named Denise. We knew each other in college. She's an African-American woman, and we were once driving down Highway 80 from UC Davis to Stanford, and we pulled off at, I think it was a Denny's somewhere like in Vacaville, and we got out of the car and walked up to the front, and I was I don't know, parking the car or something, and so I didn't see Denise anywhere, but they set me down at a table, and then Denise came strolling in a little bit later and kind of laughing a little bit. And what's so funny? Because she had gone to the desk first, and she'd said, "There's a table for 2," and they said, "You'll have to wait." I came like 20 seconds later. Right here, sir. Bizarre. For me. So when do we give up privilege? Do you refuse an upgrade to business class? No. That was easy. But I mean, what would I like to, sir, we'd like to upgrade you to business class. Actually, could you put me next to the toilet in the back of the plane? That'd be really good. That'd be great. With a broken seat. That'd be awesome if you had that. I'll pay extra. Next slide. Observation number 4, by faith. Next slide. The text says that Moses eschewed, he rejected these for the sake of Christ, these gifts, these things. Next slide. Because of faith. Well, faith is confident trust, right? Faith, if you already know, if it's like the sting and you already know the outcome of the horse race, it's not faith if you bet on it. So faith is confident trust. It's trust in a person, God, who's been found trustworthy. So I have faith that God knows me, knows my heart, has my best interest at heart. And in spite of the fact that there are bumps on my road in the rearview mirror, God has always come through. Not the way I wanted, maybe, but I'm still one of the luckiest human beings on the planet. So I can have trust, confident trust. I don't know for sure exactly how it's going to work out, but I have confidence in God's character and his omnipotence. Next slide. Upon what do we rely? I mean, those of us in the West, Europe, North America, we rely on all kinds of resources. Next slide. And Moses, he had experienced unlimited resources. He was in the royal family. You talk about unlimited resources. Just imagine that you were a child of Donald Trump right now. I mean, just get past the bad parts, but I mean, just imagine if you were a child of Donald Trump right now, the sort of resources you would have. It's like every day you're $20 million richer than you were yesterday, and the Republicans in Congress are probably going to say it's okay. That's how it seems to be going. I don't want to be political, but that's how it seems to be going. So just imagine you had unlimited resources. Moses had experienced unlimited resources, and he gave it up. He chose to cast his heart and life and his telos. Teleological means goal, means where you're headed. And I think I said this last week, it seems like it, but we think of I'm going from here to Marysville. We don't think of Marysville as drawing us towards itself. But that's the image here. God is drawing us forward to his goal for us. So Moses had experienced unlimited resources, and he had chosen to cast his heart and life and tell us upon God. Next slide. Observation number 5, fear. Next slide. They were not afraid of the king's edict. They were afraid of the danger. That's clear. But they moved forward anyway. And many of us are afraid. Are you afraid of anything right now? If you're not nodding your head, you're not being honest with yourself. They were afraid of the danger and they moved forward. Many of us are afraid. Next slide. Some of us are afraid of spiders. Next slide. That would do it. That would do it right there. Anybody freaking out right now? Next slide. Some of us are afraid of clowns. Next slide. That would be, you should be afraid of that clown, I think. There's more than just normal clown vibe going on there. I don't know what that is. Next slide. No, you're gonna have nightmare. I'm sorry. And there are some phobias that make sense. Next slide. Heights. I mean, those are just wacky. That little kid, like rolling his eyes, that's great. Next slide. Now, Frank Ferretti, he's a Hungarian. He has Canadian citizenship, and he teaches at the University of Kent. So I don't quite understand all that. Next slide. But he is an expert on fear. In 1997, he wrote Ecology of Fear, and just a couple years ago, he wrote How Fear Works. Next slide. In a culture of fear, Ferretti argues that fear is on the rise. 9/11, disease, social dislocation, and we're actually starting to fear human developments and human technology. We're starting to fear vaccines. We're starting to fear. We're not as trusting. We don't trust science as much anymore. We're losing a sense of corporate trust. Can I trust the people around me? And there seems to be a good reason why maybe we really can't as much as we used to. You have to have a little bit of godly fear. And we don't trust technology. Next slide. In How Fear Works, that was the 2018 book, he argued that the origin of contemporary fear is the unraveling of moral authority. We no longer trust our leaders, with good reason. We don't trust conspiracies, and maybe we trust TikTok influencers too much. And we're also unsure of reality in an AI world. I don't know much about that, but I mean, what I hear about it's just scaring the heck out of me. Like how to trust anything. how to trust anything? We're not even sure we can trust anything. That's destroying, the very foundation of how we operate as a species. Next slide. We cannot control threats. We experience disease, and it's difficult to know who or what to trust. Next slide. And so we devolve into self-absorption and isolation. So if you don't know that image, that's for the end of Blade Runner 2049, where the main character, he's got an AI girlfriend who he first part of the movie, you only see he's connected with her in his apartment. But then halfway through the movie, he's walking outdoors in LA at night, and the same, who we thought was his girlfriend, is broadcast for everybody. So what kind of intimacy can we have in a world like this? And I don't mean just what could possibly be accessed, but I mean it's based now not so much on what kind of intimacy is out there potentially, but what about our capacity for it? If we feel like we can no longer trust what we see, what we're told, what we perceive, that's a horrible brand new world. Next slide. So observation 6, trust. Next slide. So this is an admirable story, the story that was read for us, of moving forward in spite of fear. A story of faith and trust and an unknown future. Next slide. Moses eschewed privilege and power for what? Uncertainty. Now he trusted the God who holds the future, but God didn't show him every aspect of the way, just like you and I don't know what God has in store for us tomorrow or next week or the next 2 years. So God is asking us to trust. Not that it'll all work out the way we want it to, but it'll work out in a way that God knows is best. And I'd rather trust God than me to decide that. Now, except in the moment I'm thinking ice cream is good for breakfast, that kind of thing, then I want to trust me more than that. That's what it means to be broken human. But big picture, I know that I'd rather trust God than me. So Moses eschewed privilege and power for uncertainty. Next slide. He trusted in the character and goodness of God. God made you and me. God loves you and me. Next slide. And we suffer sometimes. Next slide. So this is Aeschylus, the Agamemnon. First act, very early, like line 130 or something like that. It's the will of the gods that those who learn wisdom must suffer. And even in our sleep, pain which we cannot forget falls drop by drop upon the heart until with it, unbidden and against our will, comes wisdom by the awful grace of God. So maybe one of the reasons we suffer is because we want things to be the way we want them to be, and we learn the kind of things we want to learn, and we're enormously creative at not learning the things we don't care about. But sometimes what we need and what we want are not the same things. Sometimes what we need is exactly what we don't want. And just like your mom or your dad when you were 2, and just like when my daughter was 2, there were things I knew that were good for her and not good for her better than she knew. So it's the will of the gods that those who learn wisdom must suffer, and even in our sleep, pain which we cannot forget falls drop by drop upon the heart until with it, unbidden and against our will, comes wisdom by the awful grace of God. Next slide. Observation 7, the characters. Next slide. So we have here quite a cast of characters. Abraham, the model. He's like the perfect big brother or big sister. Isaac, not so much. He's not horrible, but he's a little waffly. Next slide. And Joseph's a little like the friend who's fun to be around, but every once in a while you're going to end up running away from the police. Right? I mean, he's tricking people. Right? I mean, he's totally super blessed. God's blessing him like crazy. And he's actually the kind of person that you really shouldn't give him your credit card. I mean, he's putting other people to risk all the time. Like even his wives. I'm going to put my kids and my wives in front of me. Wow. I mean, what kind of dad would do that? Like, my goodness. I mean, the police would stop you if you did that as a dad or a mom. And yet he's a hero. He used to be. There's stuff about him to be emulated. Next slide. And Moses. Next slide. And God protects. What does he protect us from? Well, he protects us from what can really harm us, as opposed to what we think can harm us. And he gives us lots of warnings. I've done stuff that was harmful that I knew was wrong. I mean, the little voice said, "Don't do that, Dave. Don't do that, Dave." And then Dave watched Dave do that. But the voice was telling me. So God protects us from what can really harm us, but not from the pains that bring wisdom. So once again, from the ancient world, it's the will of the gods that those who learn wisdom must suffer. And even in our sleep, pain, which we cannot forget, falls drop by drop upon the heart until with it, unbidden and against our will, comes wisdom by the awful grace of God. So next time you're being beat up, and maybe it's going to happen as soon as you walk off the property. Not that you should enjoy it, but say, "Lord, not comfortable, don't really want this, but help me to see what I need to learn in this. Help me to have the ability to expand my heart to accept it. And I'll even say selfishly, help me to learn it quickly so this can end really fast." But also to actually learn the lesson. Next slide. And the prostitute Rahab. What can we say about her? So if your daughter or your son brought home from college, here's my boyfriend. Oh, he's Bob. Hi, Bob. What do you do? I'm a male prostitute. I mean, would you be happy? Oh, that's so interesting. How'd you get into that line of work? And are the retirement benefits good? I mean, that. I mean, what in the world is a prostitute doing as kind of one of the heroes of this story? Thoughts? I have a lot of time. Pardon? Faith. All things work together for good. I don't think I've known too many women who, when they were like 21, said, "I've been thinking about prostitution as a career. I think there's good benefits for it, a really nice retirement package." Is there a woman on the face of the planet that says, I want to be a prostitute? I don't think so. Okay, you maybe know more. Okay. We won't go there right now. But there can't be many. I think there are women who are not as discriminating maybe as they ought to be. There were certain women in college maybe, but once you're past that and you're looking at a career, I don't think there are too many. But life can be tough. It can push you around where you don't have a whole lot of options. So I don't think anyone goes to college to say, I'm surprised there's no major here in loitering. Or there's no major here in prostitution, really? Prostitution studies? I was really looking forward to the lab. I don't think there's any college that does that. So, I think most of you can say, wow, Rahab, life had been tough. And yet she was still a person of character and had a heart and ear for God. Next slide. So, this is the last slide, by the way, if you're hoping for that. So what are you called for? And what are we, as City Church, called for? And who are our people? How would we define that? What should we and are we be pursuing? What should we be pursuing and what are we pursuing? Bigger question. What does it mean to be an American? What does it mean to you relative to what it seems now to mean on the bigger stage? And what does it mean to be a Christian in America? I think that's a changing ecology recently. But sometimes that's good because it forces us to rethink. Sometimes we don't realize the situation has changed as much as it's changed if it changes slowly. But if it changes rapidly, all of a sudden you're thinking, oh my, I got to pay attention. There's wisdom in this ancient book. Because God is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. You are of ultimate value to God. And so am I, and so are the people out there. May we be his agents in this world, which I think needs his agents more than it did a couple of weeks ago.